Hey RATBAGGERS, it's Jade today, giving the follow up to showing you what the actual AXL armor is going to look like ahead of what we're seeing, or maybe hoping is going to be a release date for the AXL update. I was going to tack this on yesterday's video, but I'm trying to take notice. You guys said you want things split up a bit. Even if I leave some leaks towards the end, then you'd rather it just be a separate video. So I can't always promise that, but I am trying today. If you don't know, you missed it though. Grounded 2, pretty much the devs are going to be at PAX West on Monday. I'm going to be live streaming the event to show you guys everything that's going on. It should be starting at 12 PM PST and I do believe 3 PM EST or ET, East Coast of America, and around 8 PM UK time. So make sure you've got a notification bell dinged, come and watch me react to it and see what's going on. I'm sure we're going to get some gameplay of AXL and yeah, hopefully a release date. So we are going to take a look at AXL and a bunch of other little curious things that I find interesting about development of the game. Plus some really interesting stuff about playgrounds and different types of playgrounds we might have in the future. We've seen obviously the gameplay of AXL, but this picture still cracks me up. Just look at the size of Max sitting on top of him. Very much does look like we will be hacking away at AXL's legs to then expose his actual wound he's got on top of his abdomen to get in some critical hits. And this one's almost better. Look at the scale size compared to a wolf spider. Just absolute crazy. If this bug is so big, imagine what the colossi are going to be the size of. Obviously we still don't know if they're actually going to be creatures we kill. Colossi at the moment means pretty much like the koi fish or the crow. Unless the devs are coining these as colossi, and that will be like the next set of bosses. Big shout out to Jace the Grey One and the other data miners, who we now refer to as the data peepers. Put some thumbnails on it as well and watermarks just to stop people maybe getting away with showing too much with giving context, because that's important. Remember, as always, even this, what we're looking at right now, may not actually be the final design. There may be changes, there may be stuff cut. Whenever you see a data mine video or supposed leaks, bear that in mind. We don't really want to overhype stuff that may not come to the game. Obviously you can see the colours, they're very much closely matched to AXL right now with the yellow and kind of blue or even mauve purplish. It's got a real tribal feel to it, or maybe like I would say Asian sort of devil style, especially when you look at the mask and the fact it has got some sort of horn on it. I'm kind of digging it. It does look like a lot of these armor sets are really pushing it, not just a couple of little pieces, really going out there, hopefully showing more that actually covers your whole body. So these were some of the early designs that got lifted using data mining techniques, and yeah, here I don't think the mask really sells itself in this frame on. Definitely looks a lot better when you see it on a character, or at least in a full armor get up, and definitely got more vibrant colours in the other pictures, but it's still really cool to see. Remember, the trencher is going to have the uricate in hairs as well as obviously just regular hairs, so that may be what we're seeing in some of the fluff and stuff we see on the arm guards and the back of the mask. Maybe it's combined with actually the milkweed plant as well, because that's what it reminds me of most. And they're really going to town with the ropes. There's a lot more armors to come that have the rope as a big main kind of focus. This shot of the hand though, or the hand piece of the armor, it's really interesting. It's literally got 2 fingers cut off. So we should see the teen's fingers popping through them 2 holes. No idea what part of the tarantula AXL that's going to be. Maybe it's not, maybe it's a use for bug rubber, since that's woefully underused. Shin guards are really cool. These look to be maybe the claws at the bottom of AXL's feet, but maybe like shaved in half. Although they definitely look a little bit more black than blue in that image, so maybe just some other mandibles. You can see the side-on view, what I meant by shaved or like cut in half. In fact, it could all be made, even the backs here look like they got a kind of vibe of the claws, but I could be totally wrong. And here's another shot actually taken from kind of like a dev world where they place things out and have a good look and see what it all looks like. So yes, there's a lot more hidden here, which I'm not showing today, in the future. But the light in here is what's important, showing what it looks like under obviously bright light. So before we move on to a few other things, it's important to note how games are getting made. So this is like a colour swatch. I do believe it's meant to show the colours in different lights against some of the armours maybe. Or in fact just having the in-game engine light shine on all these individual colour cubes to see what it kind of looks like in different various effects of light, whether it's like cloudy, full brightness, semi-brightness. Being a leaker gets a bad press sometimes, but this is the kind of stuff I wish the devs would show off more, how they're actually developing the game. Because Obsidian do have a long history and they are now owned by Xbox, they have obviously give us lots of insights to things that are coming with early access, of course. And a couple times over the years they've shown us some fail clips, montages and stuff, but it'd be really cool to see and hear more about how they go through the process of making some of this. Like a little dev blog talking about upcoming fixes or big ones they know about, and they may be adding things like little teasers of upcoming content or a little focus on how they actually do stuff. Also, what the hell is this bug that they've put as decoration? Another example is these textures and colour swatches as well, what they actually look like in the full engine environment. I just like to appreciate, alongside all the other stuff I do, how much stuff goes into making these games that you would never even think of or see. So next time you're crying that updates aren't quick enough or fixes aren't being done quick enough, me included, just bear in mind the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes just to add things that you take for granted. And this last one with a glimpse behind the scenes shows what they went to design the ant throwing mechanic, where obviously your pet buggy can pick up stuff and throw it. Got these stacks of resources and then all these buttons to summon bugs and see how much damage it does. So that's something to test. Maybe they do more damage up close with certain items versus throwing something from far, or just whether or not it can actually reach that distance. So yeah, I love stuff like this and I'll continue to show it as I come across it. Alright, back to AXL before we look at some of the other stuff. Don't forget, there's going to be new drops. There will be some sort of throne. There is also going to be a brand new candle. Just for added context, this is what the Broodmother set looked like from Grounded 1, and I'm guessing it's going to be pretty similar in terms of shape and design. There is going to be a tarantula mount, but nothing saying there's going to be a stuffed version just yet. Dev's already told us there's going to be a chest. It's going to be able to store 60 items, so a proper big massive one, which will give even more reason to go and re-fight the boss. It will be a summonable boss that we can play over and over again. Being made out of cockroach head, I do believe, some snail slime and some other ingredient that we haven't established yet. That's what you can be making the poached roach roast. Not too sure what the actual bow looks like. In fact, there are no images, nothing at all related to any of the weapons that we'll get from AXL. And there were some early things that said there would be a spear as well as daggers. But we know what they do. Did cover them before, so I'll rattle it off again in a second. But this is fairly new. Maybe great special arrows for the great bow. Don't know if this got cancelled or whether or not it will be this way, but it does look to be like every kind of type. Great arrow bows, great spicy arrows, great venom arrows. There is a new mutation going to be added called the pheromone shot, again which we saw leaked from the first original trailers of Grounded 2. Perfect bow shots enrage nearby buggies, dealing bonus damage for a short duration. So what that actually means is your buggies will take more aggro, but they'll also deal more damage. And the status effects, I do believe, of the weapons, but it could actually be surely maybe something actually to do with AXL, dealing critical venom triggers, critical damage triggers, and effective venom, especially for buggies. So AXL may have a chance of dealing really powerful critical hits, or obviously lots of venom, or we're going to be doing it with our gear. There is going to be a AXL trinket by looks of things as well, and this will directly give your buggies extra critical hit as well as lifesteal. It seems to only be activated when your buggy does do a critical hit. And then yeah, the other weapons. The bow is actually called the Black Fang Great Bow, a massive great bow crafted from the dreadful fangs of the fallen tarantula. Got the Night Stalker fangs, an exquisite trophy harvested from the fuzziest arachnid to ever roam the park, and they're obviously going to be blades. And then AXL's Talon, a broad spear forged from one of the great talons of AXL. Now the roadmap does list AXL weapons, not weapon, but there's nothing else to find regarding the daggers or the actual spear, so you never know, they may have cut one, maybe two, and just still got a typo, or maybe all three are coming, giving players ultimate choice about what kind of build they're going to utilise it for. And we're still not 100% confirming what the armour will actually be, whether or not it's going to be supporting bows, but that's our best bet. And the drops, again, we mentioned them now already, but yep, talons, going to be getting tarantula venom, also a bunch of chunks, fuzzy ones, and of course fangs. Some death screens was understandably bested by AXL, player name was rolled over to death by AXL, player name was stomped to bits by AXL, player name was victim of AXL's vicious combo, player name was taken down by AXL's venomous hair. So that's proof that they are. Axel is going to be firing his I'm terrible at saying these words, hairs at us. Maybe not like direct arrows, thanks to all you rat bags. I think ITW said this one, that they actually don't just ping them at people. Instead, they just go off in like a plume or maybe upwards. So it could be like a basically munitions falling down on us that we have to get out of the way. Fair amount of blurb as well about Axel and the banter the teens will have while they encounter him. Whether or not it was going to be from getting the receipt in the terrarium, that seems to be the original idea, but the game obviously launched with the terrarium open and Axel already escaping. But here it's saying, might be killing someone's pet here, but it's me or them, so huh? Bugs shouldn't have fur. Exquisite creature, it's a misconception that tarantulas are dangerous to humans. In another life, me and this big furry spider would be friends. At this stage, it's definitely not a misconception. Let's survive this life before thinking about alternate ones. Oh, nobody survives life, that's what's so great about it. They maybe not related to Axel so much, but yeah, that's kind of the banter. And it does look like at one point they were considering Axel was just roaming around the park and we'd maybe come across him and then just fight him somehow, somewhere. So that's obviously got shifted to his arena. And that's pretty much all you need to know. We still haven't worked out where we get the recipe. It does seem like it still might be in the terrarium. That's going to be probably the best spot for you to go and check out. You then craft the roach roast, and we're presuming it's going to be moved to the cookery rather than the oven, since ovens don't seem to be being added until the winter update. And then we head over to obviously Axel's arena all the way in northeast or northwest of the map. Bring your orb weaver buggy, as you may need it to go across some of the webs a bit quicker, and some of these little pockets you can see, they will make you go slow. Get your Mithridism up to level 3, craft lots of anti-poison or anti-venom potions, maybe bring some heal bassers as well to keep you and your orb weaver absolutely tight. I know some of you will probably be taking this guy on foot, but it does look like it's worth having him there still to just give some sort of aggro. Axel is going to scream just like your orb weaver. Not sure what them effects will be like, and he's going to burrow under the ground as well as potentially roll over us given the stuff that was in the data files. And as promised, a closer look at something to do with playgrounds that I find really interesting. This was the structure that you could find if you took your character over there. You can't actually see it when you're behind the barriers. And I'm sure everyone's seen lots of videos and shots of stuff. I showed it off as well, that there was going to be an actual playground. We know that's coming, there is going to be a playground. Something maybe even more interesting is that it looks like they've cleared it all, but they could be potentially using it as actually our playground sandbox in the future. Like for sure there's going to be structures in it, and we found this one as well, shout out again to Jace, as obviously like one of them bouncy riding things that you have as kids. But Jace found some data that showed actually you could potentially have just a flat sandbox or a flat grass box, which could be the backyard again. Now this was part of the testing world for the first edition of Playgrounds in Grounded 1, or in the dev files at least. But it'd be super cool, wouldn't it, to have it in Grounded 2. We can make so much content in Playgrounds if they have different varieties of the actual playgrounds that we can build stuff in. So one being the backyard, and another being literally a sandbox. But the implications for this go even deeper. What if we've got the whole game like you can have now in Playgrounds? It took them a while. You can play Playgrounds in story mode and basically add your own fan-made DLC. But it's always a bit of a chore having to take part of stuff or move things around, and maybe the performance wasn't great when you were trying to put stuff on top of everything that was already in the backyard. So what if they add like a whole actual Playgrounds area that's part of your game? Maybe you can't access it until you've completed the game. Maybe it is just like having the backyard with all the story content and you can just simply go ahead and build stuff on top of it. But you do get a dedicated space to go and see all your stuff you're building that sits alongside all the rest of the story content. It's just a concept at the moment, but that's what Jace, maybe I think, if I've read it right, seems to think he's found. Or I've misinterpreted it, and it is just literally a sandbox playground that we'll be able to build in. The other one that you guys really wanted was some sort of water sandbox, a water playground too. So maybe that'll come, and that's all coming in the winter update. Well, Playgrounds is coming in the winter update. We don't know if any of these other boxes are. But yeah, this one is clearly from Grounded 1, the grass box. But imagine if again, you could tack it on to the world that you've currently got. And there we go guys, everything you need to know about Axel hopefully. ahead of hopefully even more reveals on Monday. I'll see you there as promised. Laters.